His Excellency the President, Lieutenant General Dr. Seresta Kama, Ian Kama, His Honour the Vice President, Mr. Eric Masisi, Honourable Minister Malali, Honourable Speakers of the National Assembly, former Presidents, Honourable Ministers, Deputy Speaker, Honourable Assistant Ministers, Members of the Parliament, Decosis, Permanent Secretaries, Attorney General, Ambassadors, Higher Commissioners, Bishops, His Worship, Heads of international organizations, District Commissioners, Councillors, CSOs, people of the media, good morning, Dumela. I am delighted to invite you here and welcome you here on behalf of UNDP. I am delighted to be partnering with government on this important international conference on Leave No One Behind, the fight against poverty. May I have a special warm welcome for those who have come from many continents. So welcome from North America, South America, from Asia, from Europe, from the African continent, from our neighbours. You're very welcome. And to all from Botswana, both the policymakers and the practitioners, both from Gaborone, all the districts, sub-districts, and the communities, and the CSOs, the research institutions, faith-based organizations, all of you are very, very welcome to this conference. And in the spirit of the theme of the conference, which is Leave No One Behind, we are live streaming this event so that everybody in Botswana and around the world has an opportunity to hear it. So to the virtual participants, welcome. I'm very pleased you can be here. We will encourage all of you to tweet that we are live streaming. So for those who are active on tweet, policymakers as well, please tweet that we're live streaming this event. You can have it, see it on the government Facebook page and also on the UNDP website. So you can start tweeting on this one. So as we've heard from Honourable Malali, this event came about because Botswana has been doing a lot of work in relation to poverty, and they wanted to share their experiences and also hear what other countries are doing. You may be aware that Botswana was one of 43 countries that went to New York last year to the high-level political forum and shared what it's doing in terms of poverty as part of self-reporting on the Sustainable Development Goals. And while in New York in July, they did report on both Goal 1, which is on poverty, Goal 2 on end hunger, Goal 3 on health, 5 on gender, and other goals. So it's right and fitting that they would now be sharing it and moving that agenda a little bit further. There's also another reason. As we've just heard also from Honourable Malali, that His Excellency the President, Lieutenant General Dr. Seresta Kama Ian Kama, will be, in 10 days, finishing his term of office. And I know that he has put poverty as his top priority. And we all know that there has been remarkable achievements during that period. So, Your Excellency, thank you for all you have done in terms of poverty. Thank you. So as we move forward, Botswana has been very busy in the last 3 to 4 months developing a strategy for poverty for the next 5 years. And it is one of the national programs that has specific SDG targets and indicators. And I know that this conference will provide opportunities to strengthen that strategy. And as His Honour takes over the baton, he will then be taking on the approval of this strategy which has been drafted. So the work that has been done will be built on. So let me turn to what this conference is about and what we'll cover. So first, we want to unbundle this theme, leave no one behind. Leave no one behind. As you know, it's a very inclusive principle, and therefore, because it's so inclusive, it's nearly opposite to what you would expect when you say leave no one behind. So we will examine in the first session, how do you leave no one behind and at the same time get down to identifying who are the poor. Who are the poor? And in order to identify who are the poor, we need data. And you know that many countries have many challenges around data. So how do we make sure that the data helps us and facilitates us to know who are the poor? Then the second session will go into, once we have identified who are the poor, how do we target them? What approaches are we using? What methods are we using? Is the method in a least developed country the same as in an upper middle income country? We will hear in session 2 and an explanation of why they've used it. We'll be looking to see, are they appropriate for Botswana? Maybe yes, maybe no. But it'll be interesting to hear that conversation. We have experts from around the world who are going to talk to this theme, i.e., who are the poor and why are they targeted, how are they targeted, what are the methodologies that's used. And as we begin to adopt leave no one behind, are those target methods and approaches still relevant? We'll ask those questions. So the conference is about questioning each other. That's for today. They're the 2 sessions for today. Then tomorrow morning, we start with the session, which is going to be a lively one. Once we have identified who are the poor and how they're being targeted, we look at what have countries done in terms of interventions. What intervention have they for a particular target group? Now, that session is, Your Excellency, will be very interesting because we have 5 ministers. So, 5 ministers from 3 continents, moderated by the Asian continent. So I expect lots of discussion and lots of great examples in that session to see what is it that are being done in other countries, what interventions are you using and why, and are they relevant to Botswana? We will also look at aspects like poverty measurement. What method is each country using to measure poverty? We'll ask, and we'll be bold enough to ask the question, is the measurement of $1.90 a day relevant for an upper middle income country? Maybe that's relevant for a least developed country, but maybe it's not relevant for an upper middle income country. So we'll also go there. We won't shy. We will go there as well. In the third session, when the ministers are speaking, I am hoping that you will tell us what's working and what's not working. Because to us, knowing what's not working is as important as what is. So as policymakers, as politicians, we want to hear the good and the bad. So we really look forward to that session tomorrow morning. Then that's followed by the 4th session, which is around the challenges about changing programs to do with poverty. Let's consider, in most countries, we implement a program on poverty. It's extremely hard to change that because we have different political thinking, different political parties, different viewpoints. And moving from what we're doing to a new thinking in terms of leaving no one behind, are we bold enough? So that session will answer that question. Session 4, the last session, in terms of how do we bring about that change. In that session, we're also going to have the private sector and how they help to bring about change, how CSOs bring about change, and we're also going to talk to gender. So what is it, if we look at gender, that helps to leave nobody behind? And then we will conclude by a number of recommendations. So the recommendations in the last session And then the closing session, we will bring to you the key recommendations. And we will have an outcome document, but immediately tomorrow, it'll be just recommendations. So I'd like to conclude with a special invitation to the speakers. Let's be provocative. Let's be lively, in agreement or not in agreement, so that we can all together see how best to leave no one behind. So with that, on behalf of UNDP, I warmly welcome you. Thank you, and Pula.